This is Corinne.
And this is Ayani.
And welcome to the inaugural La Petite
Ooh.
SLL, a sex, love, literature mini-episode.
This time, we're taking a quick look at the use of the tropes love makes you evil and if I can't have you, no one can, in the popular Korean Webtoon turned drama, True Beauty.
What happens when a wonderful female friendship turns sour because of jealousy over a man?
Blah.
And why do we hate it so much?
If you like what you hear, though, make sure you subscribe for future full and mini episodes on your listening platform of choice.
Also, just as a heads up, we do briefly discuss suicide in this episode, but you can check the episode description for a timestamp of when we do.
And with that, let's get on with the show. Welcome back, y'all, to another SLL episode. But this episode is a little bit different. Corinne and I would like to introduce to you La Petite SLL. Oh. It's a new episode style that we're trying because we've noticed that when we get really into something, we can talk about it forever. And I think that might be in part because we are English PhD candidates and it is our jobs to talk about media. But we wanted to try something a little bit smaller, a little bit bite-sized to kind of intersperse with some of our longer episodes. So
yeah, and another reason that we thought this new format might be useful is when we, like, for example, have a lot of feelings about something that happens in a show or a movie or a book, but we don't want to talk about the whole thing. We just want to, get in, get out.
Uh-huh.
Here for a good time, not a long time.
Right,
It's
exactly. But that's the whole purpose of our kind of La Petite SLL episodes, is that these are going to be 20 to 30 minute bite-size mini-sode experiences in which Corinne and I will have a lot of feelings about something in particular. They may be good feelings, they may be bad feelings, they may be neutral, confused feelings. Who knows?
They may be teachery feelings.
They may be teachery feelings. Sometimes we do put our teacher hats on and are like, time to learn about blank. But for our first La Petite, we are going to be talking about a K-drama, of course.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise! We're going to be talking about the K-drama True Beauty. True Beauty was kind of, what would we say, a smash hit? Is that what the internets are saying?
I think it kind of had a little bit viral popularity at the beginning, and then people started to have more negative feelings as the drama went on, which is partly what we're talking about. But I think it also had a lot of goodwill at the beginning, in part because it's based on an incredibly popular webtoon.
Yeah.
And also in part because it has the same writer as, and I don't remember if it has the same director, but it has the same sort of like creative team behind it as Extraordinary You.
Ooh, we loved that.
Which is an amazing drama that we might do like a full deep dive on sometime. But like it had this sort of goodwill built in at the beginning, which is part of why it was so popular to begin with.
Right, yeah. So, for some context, True Beauty was a 2020 into 2021 South Korean drama series, which, as Corinne said, was based on a very popular webtoon, which I am now constantly getting advertisements for. So thanks for that.
And the webtoon remains ongoing.
Yes, that is very important. Though they are, I think, selling collected editions of some of the earlier issues, if that's something that piques your interest. The summary from Viki, which is the platform that we watched True Beauty on, is Im Joo-kyung is a high schooler who is upbeat and positive about most things except for her appearance. She hates the idea of being seen in public without makeup, but fortunately has become a self-taught makeup expert with a little help from a plethora of internet video tutorials. That's how we learn everything nowadays, right? Is internet video tutorials. I was literally just watching one about how to make stickers, so there you go. What she has learned has transformed her life. At school, she is known as one of the prettiest girls in class, although she secretly lives in fear of her schoolmates discovering what she looks like behind the makeup. So it seems like a really quote-unquote silly concept, right? But I know that Corinne and I were both kind of from the beginning invested in the way it was both kind of taking itself seriously and not seriously at the same time. And in the plot, of course, there is some stuff with a love triangle, which is fun to watch, but is not the main focus of what Corinne and I are going to be chatting about today.
But the four main, there is, of course, it is a K-drama, a huge ensemble cast. We're not getting into all of them, but the four
Mm-hmm.
main characters that we are going to be talking about today are Im Joo-kyung, who is our main girl. We love her. She is super funny and warm and bright, but also, you know, has she's something also a side note, something I love about her is she's not super good at school.
No,
Like she's
no.
not very smart, but she is very talented.
Mm-hmm.
And she also loves horror comics. She's a fun main character. We like
She
her.
she works hard. Yeah.
Then we have Lee
Oh
Soo
wait,
Ho.
before
Oh,
who plays
oh,
Im Joo-kyung?
sorry. She's played by Moon Ka Young. And then we have Lee Soo Ho, who is played by Cha Eun Woo. He is the male lead, one of two male leads, because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he has a dark secret past and is kind of
Mm.
broody. He's not really, like, great at communicating, which is annoying, but whatever.
There could be a La Petite on his lack of communication.
And he is at the top of the class, so he's very, very smart and academically gifted. And he also loves horror comics, which is part of how he gets to know Im Joo-kyung. Our second male lead and part of this main love triangle is Han Seo-jun, played by Hwang In-yeop. And he
Mm-hmm.
is beautiful and we love him.
Beautiful.
And he's like kind of a punk, so he like has the bad boy thing going on, but he has, the heart of gold thing going on. And
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a stereotype, but I love him.
What, the heart
Also,
of gold is a stereotype?
yeah, the like bad boy with a heart of gold.
Oh well, yeah, yeah. I mean, this isn't about him, but I always felt like he was tough because he felt like he needed to be tough, and not in
Mhm.
like a I'm going out and breaking down stores with a baseball bat kind of, you
And I
know.
and I do think it's distinct in that so like the trope that I don't like about the bad boy with a heart of gold is like when the
Mhm.
female lead like has to change him and save him,
Mm,
which is
mhm,
something
mhm.
that I don't like, and that is not what is happening
No, no,
here.
no, no, no. Mm-mm.
But the main focus of our La Petite SLL episode is Kang Soo-jin, who is played by Park Yoo-na, and she went after Im Joo-kyung transfers schools, is one of her new best friends, and
Mhm.
is at first lovely and smart and, has a lot of things going on. And then she takes a turn out of reasons that are stupid and becomes a bully and like turns on Im Joo-kyung in a really, really terrible way. This episode is not spoiler free, but it is going to be a spoiler about a very particular part
Yeah.
of the show. We
Mhm.
are not spoiling
The
most of it,
ending.
but also like the thing that we are talking about, to be honest, which we'll spell out in a little more detail, but like I
Yeah.
saw a few spoilers about this when we were watching the show because in
Mhm.
a rare turn of events we started watching this one while it was still airing. I like to wait until something is done so I can like zoom through it and not have to wait between episodes. But I saw that this was coming and it made me so
Mm.
upset that like this was happening in the plot that we like took a break and watched Mr. Queen instead because we were upset by the
Yep.
direction the show was going.
Mhm. Mhm. So it's kind of like in our notes, I put a combo of tropes here that come together, which is a really like 80s, 90s reference. So that shows that I'm ancient. But, it's kind of a combination. So for a little bit of personal context, I'm obsessed with TV tropes and have been for a very, very long time.
And by
So
TV tropes, she specifically means like a website,
yeah,
not just like tropes that are on TV.
no, 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 no. The website, the wiki TV tropes. I've been obsessed with that for many, many years now. So a lot of the way I kind of like try to explain media to other people is thinking about like what tropes things might fit under to be like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm gesturing to. So our girl, our Kang Soo-jin, she kind of embodies this combination of a love makes you evil kind of character on a high school scale, right? Paired with quote unquote, if I can't have you, then nobody can.
Hmm.
And that was just a turn that we were really hoping the drama would not take because it spent so much time building up a very tender, I thought, friendship
Hmm.
between Sojin and Im Joo-kyung. So we were really disappointed to see kind of a female friendship fall apart in the face of a broody dude who can't communicate very well.
So what happens here, for those of you who haven't seen the drama,
For some
is that
context.
so at this point, In Joo-kyung is really, really good friends with Kang Soo-jin. They're besties. Kang Soo-jin has figured out or discovered through a turn of events when they go to like an overnight camp
Mhm,
trip for
mhm.
school that Im Joo-kyung wears a lot of makeup and looks quote unquote ugly without it. I
Quote,
mean, side
unquote.
note, Aeoni and I think she just needed to see a dermatologist.
Which one of her friends told her towards, like, the end of the series, and we were both like, "Yes, yes, yes."
Yeah. But so Kang Soo-jin knows that Im Joo-kyung wears a lot of makeup
Mhm,
and promises to like keep her secret and like helps her keep that under wraps and like is
mhm,
a really good
mhm.
friend about it. But in the meantime, Im Joo-kyung has this growing relationship with Lee Soo-ho, who is the broody top of the class guy. And Kang Soo-jin and Lee Soo-ho have a history of friendship. Their
Yeah,
families
childhood
know each
friends
other.
kind of a thing,
Yeah.
yeah.
But Kang Soo-jin is the second in the class and her dad is abusive. I think
Mhm, mhm.
it's pretty clear. I'm not
Yeah.
exaggerating when I say that. Like
No, he hits her and screams at
yeah.
her, and yeah.
And like part of when he does that is when she like does poorly in school and like because Lee Soo-ho is beating her academically, not
Right.
beating her. So Kang Soo-jin has the drama would like us to think complicated feelings about Lee Soo-ho. So she finds out that Lee Soo-ho and Im Joo-kyung are dating.
Mhm,
And
mhm.
her response to that is to out Im Joo-kyung and not just out her as someone who like wears a lot of makeup to look pretty, but
Right.
posts this horrible video of people from In Joo-kyung's former school bullying her and like dumping trash on her head and like
Mhm, mhm.
it's really really distressing. Like it's
Yeah.
distressing when that happens in the first episode. It's distressing when like this video is put on the internet and
Mhm.
it is most of all distressing that Kang Soo-jin is doing this because of jealousy over a man.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think there are so many other ways that we could have played with that dynamic, right? Of having a friend that has a crush on the guy that you also have a crush on, right? This is a thing that has happened in life. It's happened in life to me, right?
Mhm.
But I think I don't know. I think it's disappointing, and I might just be rehashing something I said already, but like Im Joo Young's whole thing is that she is looking for friendship and people who care about her and
Mhm.
people who see her worthiness. So it's like we all almost it was almost inevitable that they would go in this direction, that like the first person at her school that she shares her secret with that is not one of the boys in the triangle, right, is the one that comes to betray her. So it's like almost the obvious direction to go in. But
Mhm.
I just, the breakdown of female friendships, I think, is just so disheartening. And
Mhm.
there are so many other ways we could play around with ideas of bullying. And there are other ways that the show does this,
Mhm.
right? By bringing back the bullies from her old school, by having her have some trouble with no name characters in the bathroom. You know what I mean? It
Mhm.
felt like the easy way out, but also the most disappointing way,
Mhm.
you know?
And so another reason that this was like so disappointing to me in particular, so so like one of the things that we loved so much about this drama at the beginning and why we were so into it, a is like how campy it is, but also
Yeah.
that like when Im Joo Young transfers schools, she like makes friends that are girls like
Mhm.
so easily
Yeah, and effortlessly. Mhm.
and one of the sort of questions hanging over it is like would they still be her friend if they knew she wasn't beautiful?
Mhm. Mhm.
And the answer that I wanted that to be was like, yes, they would.
Unequivocally. Yep.
And for like of the two girls that she makes friends with, with the other one, I think the answer would have been yes. But with
Yes.
Kang Soo Jin, I would have thought before this narrative turn that Kang Soo Jin definitely would have been her friend and had her
Mhm.
back. And
Mhm.
like there's sequences where Im Joo Young like runs into her former bullies on the bus while she's with Kang Soo Jin and like they don't recognize her because of the makeup
Mhm.
and she like kind of freezes and like doesn't know what to do and Kang Soo Jin like has her back
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
like and tells her like not to let people like that get to her because if you show them that like they're getting to you then it makes them want to keep hurting you and to
Mhm.
like and that she should stand her ground
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
also like that part is very serious, that I really valued, that I thought that this drama was valuing female friendship.
Yeah.
And that it could be solid. And then the other thing is that I was getting some like lesbian vibes from Kang Soo-jin. So like, and I don't want to get into like the details of queer representation in Korean drama, because
Right.
that's not necessarily my conversation to have, and it is something that I
Mhm.
think is a little bit fraught. But like the coding was there for Kang Soo-jin to be queer. So then like when in my head, this character
In the headcanon.
in the headcanon,
Which I
like
did support.
that, like if this character is a lesbian, I am not convinced that she would do this shit over jealousy over a man, because she
Over
doesn't
some
like
boy.
men. So why would she do that?
Now we get to the core of the reason why Corinne was upset.
She was a lesbian. That's the
You know.
reason.
And this, I hope this doesn't sound terrible, but like, Suho is fine. He's a sweet boy, I guess, but like, not the one to ruin your friendship.
No.
I feel terrible saying that. I know for a lot of people he is absolutely gorgeous. I think he's like a model. Isn't he a K-pop something? I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think, I don't know, but he is very, very beautiful. Like, he's a very attractive man. I get it. I've seen him. Oh, what did I see him in? I don't know. I saw him in a historical K-drama that's on Netflix, and I liked him in that. But like, I don't know. He's fine.
The characterization of him too, the fact that he was so poor at communicating, the fact that, you know, there was just a lot of things that I'm like, this is a lot of effort for this boy, I suppose, because they were friends when they were like 7 and now we're coming back. I don't know. It kind of leads me back into, and this is something that I think Corinne and I are going to talk about at another time, but like, Lee Soo-ho and Im Joo-kyung knew each other when they were little, like 7, maybe 10-ish. I don't know.
Early elementary school.
Yeah, for a brief period of time. Soo-ho had a crush on her at that time period. She did not remember him, but he kind of always held that flame for her. So it's kind of like the I've loved you since we were little kind of a thing coming back. And now that I've loved you since you were little, but now you're also like my first high school relationship kind of a thing. Now we have to be together forever. And it's just like,
do you?
I'm not convinced. Yeah. So granted, now, if this were Han So-jin, then maybe I would understand. Jokes aside though. And okay, so kind of fast forwarding a little bit through the drama, one of the things that they do with Soo-jin is that it's clear that she regrets her actions, but she kind of like doubles down on being like, I did this, I meant to do this, and then she goes and like cries behind a bush kind of a thing. And then there's a time skip, right, that takes them, now they're all like 20, maybe 20, 21, 22.
Yeah.
And Soo-jin comes back, but
so Soo-jin left during like the break between semesters after these events happen.
Yeah.
And Han So-jun like gets the video taken down. Lee Soo-ho has to leave and go across the ocean for reasons that are fine, whatever. And then Kang Soo-jin just like disappears and like transfers schools, and there's like rumors that she went abroad, but they don't really know what happened to her. She doesn't apologize. She doesn't make amends.
No,
she just goes.
So what we find out happens is that she dropped out of school, right? And apparently she's like a missionary now.
She's like a volunteer in like Haiti or something.
Yeah, which kind of felt a little weird. I was like, I don't quite know what's going on with that, but okay.
Well, it's like she has this whole redemption arc, but it happens entirely off screen.
Yeah, off screen. Her hair is fantastic though when she comes back. I was really digging what was happening with that. But she comes back and runs into Im Joo-kyung again, and they have this kind of apology scene all these years later. And, you know, it was fine. You know what I mean? I think Soo-jin actually saves her from a situation at some point towards the end.
It's like an echoing of when Soo-jin saved Im Joo-kyung from her bullies on the bus.
Yeah.
She saves Im Joo-kyung from like this idol that Im Joo-kyung is like on the makeup support team
Yeah,
for
yeah, she's like an
who's
intern kind of a thing,
mhm,
yeah.
and this idol is, like, kind of a bully,
Mhm.
again, but, like, it's more institutionally supported because, like, she's an
Mhm.
idol,
Right.
and but Kang Soo Jin intervenes and is like, "Stop that."
Yeah. So it was, I mean, it was definitely resonant with that original scene, but because the friendship has already been broken and the trust
Mhm,
has been broken, which was more important for me, it's kind of like, okay, she does this thing. I guess she helps out. But I, I guess one of the things I'm trying to wrap my brain around is what is the show trying to say about breaches of trust in these very close relationships? Because I totally
mhm,
understand in Im Joo Kyung's heart, if she doesn't want to hold on to the anger, that's fine, that's whatever. But they start inviting Kang Soo Jin back into the fold, like she's at a wedding that happens, that everyone is at. It seems like they're like kind of welcoming her back in without, I don't know. For me, if someone kind of betrays my trust in a way that they put my most sensitive, most traumatizing moments up for everybody to see, that's not a like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years go by and I automatically am letting you back into the fold. You know what I
mhm.
mean? It's not, I don't think it's a good thing to hold on to rage and anger and upsetness necessarily, right? But I also do think it's a person's responsibility if they've been deeply hurt to just be like, well, okay, we can start being friends again. Like, I don't know. That,
Yeah, I think there are some questions here that the drama doesn't grapple with very
yeah.
well about
Mhm.
particularly with ideas about restorative justice and victims' responsibilities to perpetrators. So
Mhm.
like if for example, like I had one of my childhood bullies come and apologize to me for that years later, like they're
Mm.
not really doing that for me. They're doing
Mhm.
that for them and for the guilt that they feel. And while it may behoove me to let go of any anger or hurt that I have, it is not then my responsibility to be their best friend again
Right.
because they hurt me and I'm not letting them do that again. Like
Right.
the value that they add to my life isn't enough for
Mhm.
me
Mhm.
to do that. And I don't like that the drama that True Beauty took this character that we really liked, twisted her, and then was just like, oh, well, like, it's fine though. Like, she said she was sorry.
Yeah, she went on a mission retreat for a few years and then came back, you know, and saw the
Mm
light. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like I would have, granted, if she had apologized in the time, like when things were happening,
hmm. Mm
I don't
hmm.
know if I would feel differently about letting people back into the fold, but like,
Oh, and also, like, at the time, Im Joo Gyung gave Kang Soo Jin multiple openings
yeah.
to
Mhm.
apologize. And,
Mhm.
like, even after Kang Soo Jin was, like, outed as the person who posted this video, and then everyone kind of turned on her and was like, we thought you maybe didn't suck like that. Like, Im Joo Gyung, like, still goes and, like,
yeah.
tries to, like, make amends
Mhm.
when Im
Mhm.
Joo Gyung didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of like a weird way to end a drama that's been having a lot of conversations about bullying and how you should treat other
Mhm.
people, that there is, especially since there's a through line of a character who in the beginning has had recently, I don't know if I want to necessarily spoil that, but there is this kind of conversation and through line about how bullying is viewed
Mhm.
in the populace and by other people, how bullying affects people who are being bullied.
Mhm. And
But then,
this I think it's fair to say this, and it's only a little bit of a spoiler because it happens in like the first episode, but that like In Joo Kyung, after she is bullied at her first school and has this is an ongoing thing, but after this particularly horrific incident where they dump the trash on her, she considers taking her own life, and she ultimately doesn't do that, obviously, because we have the rest of the drama. But like
mhm,
for
mhm,
a show that takes bullying very seriously, this twist just didn't fit.
yeah, yeah, and the way that they tried to wrap it all up doesn't quite fit either. Because
Mhm.
also we don't see what happens to the bullies that bullied Im Joo Young and one of her friends,
Mhm.
throughout kind of their high school experience. They just kind of drop off the face of the earth too and disappear, if I remember correctly.
Mhm.
After they have this like kind of comedic fight, in a park, they just kind of disappear. So yeah, I think the series in some ways is doing a lot of interesting work thinking about bullying and how that can impact people, but then also kind of drops the ball in thinking about, well, what's next? What do we do after that? What does it mean then for that bully to try to reinsert themselves into your life? You know? So yeah, that's my feelings on that.
I don't know that we really have a pithy way to wrap things up, except that you should not sacrifice female friendship over a man, because why do that?
Yeah, I mean, any friendship for any, like, I don't know. Obviously, there are exceptions to every rule, but like, I think if we're thinking about how things are portrayed in media, more positive female friendships that don't fall apart because a boy is pretty would be nice. So yeah, that's our first La Petite SLL episode. We would really like to hear your thoughts about this one, honestly, because this is a new thing for us. We're trying something different. This is even different from when we did like the deep dive on Schitt's Creek on one episode. So as always, we really, really like to hear what you think about this. Did this work for you? Did it not work for you? Do you want more of this? Do you want us to only do La Petite episodes? Don't say that. That would make us sad. But definitely let us know on our Instagram, Facebook, on Twitter. You know, you can find us at all of those places at Sex Love Lit, which is all one word. You can also let us know if you want to leave a comment on one of the many platforms that we're on. Leave a review on Apple Podcasts, on Podchaser, on Anchor, I think. You can leave us voice messages on Anchor. And then we can put those in the episode and be like, look what our fans thought.
But only with permission.
Oh, yeah, only with permission. Oh my gosh, yes. Consent is very important to us on this podcast. We're never just going to like steal your voices and put them on our show. But yeah, so let us know what you think. Reach out to us. We're hoping to do more of these in the future. We already have like a list of maybe 5 or 6 things that we were thinking about for doing future La Petites. For our next main episode, we're thinking about doing Promising Young Woman, but if we watch it and then are too depressed by it, or it's just too much, we might switch to one of the other myriad of things on our list.
But yeah, thanks for listening, and we will see you next time on Sex Love Literature.
Yeah. Bye, y'all.
Bye.